In today's episode, we will be talking through the last four episodes of Succession Season 3. So let's jump right into Succession Season 3, episodes 6 through 9. Do something, man. People are questioning you. Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the dub cast. The first episode of the back half of season 3 is episode 6, titled What It Takes. And we start off here with Kendall. He's working on his answers for the government, but in typical Kendall form, he's goofing off with Lisa. It's not looking like a slam dunk anymore. The papers aren't really holding as much weight as they thought, which is basically the whole backbone of his operation. And everything's playing at Logan's pace. And yeah, as to be expected in Succession by this point, everything is going to play at Logan's pace. And you have to really have some great plan to push him away. As we see in season 1, Kendall's plan wasn't good enough. In season 2, Stewie and Sandy's plan wasn't good enough. And the Pierce's plan wasn't good enough. He's still here, still persevering and surviving. So Logan is a hard man to take down, and Kendall, it's not looking good. So Greg is texting him about the idea of him burning him, as Kendall had mentioned to him before, but Kendall's not answering. Shocker. Greg should know that really everyone in this family doesn't really give a shit about him besides maybe Tom. Everyone always asks why he's here. And Greg, got to make that switch those sides, brother. So Logan's strategy is to push against tech company, and he still wants to. He's still going to be fighting against the president a little bit. This is while the president's still in office. The president's going to be out of office. He is not going to be rerunning as stated in the show. So his new strategy: push against tech companies and just fight against the president a little bit. So he, of course, has to make an apology tour after he wigged out on Shiv last episode. And yeah, as usual, doesn't take real responsibility. He was unwell and it was a long day. Okay, sure, bro. We'll go with that. Just like hitting Roman, are you good? Like, it's never like sincere. It's never genuine with Logan. You can see how, it's just, this wasn't a great parental relationship. But anyways, Shiv wants Roman off the deal with the new vice president for a new endorsement. This whole episode is centered around this kind of meeting of the minds at this summit and to determine who's going to be the next president now that the president announced they're not running anymore. And Shiv wants Roman out of the picture because, she wants to have the upper hand in everything. So Connor and Willa are also at the function, and they're given the classic we met online bit at the presidential summit. This is classic. People nowadays, when you go on dating apps, they just want to come up with an excuse for that. Every girl I see on things like, what do we have to say, how we met? And, there's a good lies. So online, probably like a 5 out of 10, not a great one, but, gotta do what you gotta do. Obviously, you can't admit that Will is a prostitute. I'm wondering if that'll come to the light in season 4. I think we already got a prelude to that. But decent enough lie for now. So everyone at the summit, the family basically decides that Boyer's going to be the choice. Everyone in the room likes Boyer as of right now, but he does lick his lip too much, this is just fucking crazy. The politics and everything that's involved in this, that someone licking their lips too much is a problem and could be something to use against, but honestly, I'm not really that surprised and kind of see it. So he could unite the party, bring it back from when the other president was president, and be the guy that unites everyone. Kind of similar to something we're seeing playing out right now in the real world in America in 2024, if you're watching this past the election. So turns out that Caroline, Kendall, Shiv, and Roman's mother is getting married, and no one knew. Shiv and Kendall are still at each other's throats. Obviously, a lot of vitriol there in between last episode or 2 episodes ago. I forget how long ago it was, but Shiv wrote that nasty letter about Kendall, which I still don't forgive her for. That was fucked up. So Kendall's obviously not happy with her, and Shiv's not happy with him. So, Shiv is going to want to stop Tom from talking about his impending imprisonment. He's really down in the dumps. He needs this whole season basically. He's like, I'm going to prison, and there's nothing I can do about it. Just gotta help the company. He's very down in the dumps. He's very down bad. And Shivs, he says, stop that shit. And I appreciate that from Shiv. He's got to get, like, even if you're going to prison, you got to live the best of your life while you can. They actually kiss for once in this scene, but Tom doesn't want to have sex because Shiv is still on contraception. Tom wants kids right before he goes to jail. So I don't know if that's ever going to play out, especially after the end of this season, but just another wrinkle in the dynamic relationship between Shiv and Tom. I think this is probably the best relationship to examine throughout the whole show, just like romantically, just because we've seen such interesting, to say the least, things play out on both sides. So anyways, Connor, of course, is still trying to use his bid to become the president, and he's going to use Willa's body to show off her potential donors. She's like flirting and stuff, and he's encouraging it. I guess do what you got to do, get to that 1%. So Greg and Tom meet at a dinner to prepare for or a diner to prepare for prison food. Greg says, you know what, I'm going to unload, or Tom offers him to unload corporate wrongdoing onto Tom. Since he's already going, Tom's like, I'll take it all. You can be free. And, Tom really has turned it around on Greg in this last half season. Obviously, they have a long-standing relationship, but he's much more nice to Greg now. I think he sees that Greg can be a loyal soldier. I think in the last episode, he calls him his attack dog. Obviously, he still gets his digs in here and there, but using Greg to your benefit, I think that's a good thing for Tom. So well done to Tom here. If this was some sort of big scheme, but I don't even know. I mean, we'll talk about that at the end. But so Kendall is going to have a ploy of yelling about how the Inquirers are on Logan's side. Not good. He's basically like, these people who are asking him questions about what happened, what's your stuff. He doesn't have shit besides the papers. So they're like really leaning on him for ideas, and he's like, you guys are on Logan's side. Didn't think this was the best strategy. Lisa's trying to calm him down and say, this is not the best strategy. We got to do something else. And then, of course, Kendall's not receptive to that. Lisa's out for real. Bad move. I knew right here this was all downhill for Kendall. This last back half of the season is just a depressing one for Team Kendall. But yeah, Lisa is out of the picture now. Need a new lawyer, and yeah, I mean, is there even a case anymore? It's like everything's kind of just slowly drifting away from Kendall's perspective. So interested to see how he even navigates season 4. So one of the candidates offers Shiv the CEO position if she pushes him to be the president, and he'll get rid of Logan, so she'll have the clear picture. And yeah, so Shiv's got an offer on the table. People are noticing her. So there's a little debate between two candidates. One of them says that Logan and ATN are irrelevant. Basically, this is just sparring to try and get the respect of Logan. I think the guy who calls him irrelevant is the one they end up choosing at the end. I forgot the name. Sorry. I know that guy. I watched the season 4 trailer. I know that guy's going to come up again, the one who Roman liked. So, but yeah, it's shots fired here at the summit, and Logan and ATN are taking them. So essentially this episode is fucking crazy because they're just picking the president in this room, the family. They're like all standing there and like, which one do we like? Which one do we not like? The debate's mostly between Roman and Shiv. But then the Caroline bomb drops and they get word of it. And I guess there's a seat sniffer. I think that's her husband. I don't really know what that means. Maybe some context clues. I don't know. Anyways, so Kendall calls Tom. He pulls up to the summit and they have a meeting at a diner. Kendall's trying to flip him. You don't have to go to prison. You can join our side. You can help us out. I know you're heavily implicated, but Tom's just going to ruminate on this and doesn't really seem that interested. So Logan finally decides to support Connor. Once they're having the little round table at the end about which candidate they want to choose, he says, what about Connor? We should give Connor a chance. So this was nice to see from Logan. I feel like even though Connor's mad goofy, he kind of always you can definitely see he loves Connor. Really, Connor's the only one who hasn't done anything drastic to. I mean, we saw him freak out at Shiv last episode. We saw him hit Roman, and we just see him manipulate Kendall every episode. But Connor is more low key. Maybe I'm missing something, but it seems like they have a good relationship. So yeah, he says no bad factors, and then Roman says, "Are we being serious?" And the room seems like it considers it for a second. But they ask Greg. He says they shouldn't crown or make Connor president. He owes it to his country to be truthful. I don't think he'd be a good candidate. So Connor's out of the picture due to Greg's persuasion slash honesty. And yeah, tough for Connor. He looked like for a second there that maybe he was actually going to get the bid, but not happening. So Tom and Kendall continue their conversation, and Tom says to Kendall, "My hunch is you're gonna get fucked. I've never seen Logan get fucked once." Yeah, that's about right. As I was mentioning before, Logan always wins, so you gotta just take Logan's side. Kendall takes a picture of Tom. I'm not really sure what this is gonna do. I don't think it even plays out in any way. Maybe just to show that they had a meeting, but no one really cares, especially by the end of the season. So, meeting adjourned. So Greg is partying downstairs when Tom walks back into the hotel, and this is a really cool scene. Everything's kind of in slow motion. There's music and stuff. It's just a silent, like Tom's walking through and he just sees everything. Everyone's chanting "fuck Greenpeace," the place that Ewan's giving all his money to. Obviously, Greg's upset because that's supposed to be his inheritance money. But I like the scene a lot with Tom walking in and Greg just getting hyped up. There's other stuff going on. So Roman is talking with Mencken, that's the guy's name, the super conservative guy, and he says people trust people who look like them. Yeah, that is true. So Roman's heavily pushing Mencken. Carrie and Logan back in the room are staring at each other while Roman and Shiv argue about the candidate. Um, they adjourn. They just needed to go bang. Carrie and Logan. This is a weird relationship and weird, even more weird bomb drops at the end of the season. But this has been kind of going on for a while. The little assistant and Logan are doing it. Logan seems to just have a free pass, do whatever he wants. I mean, we saw him with Rhea. We saw him with Carrie now. Marsha did get paid, so I guess there's maybe some sort of verbal agreement there. I don't know if they ever have really dove into that, but yeah, Logan and Carrie, for sure, a thing. So Shiv's going depressed now again because Logan won't listen to her. Connor's also a little bit sad. Shiv, once they decide to pick Mencken at the next day, she won't be in the photo. Shocker. Classic Shiv, taking everything so personally and not being in the know and not being able to think her voice is heard. So she's all pissed he doesn't want to be in the photo, but she does end up doing it, standing next to Tom. Mencken is their guy, and I don't know if this was a play on Trump, but Mencken kind of gives me Trump vibes. Maybe I'm totally in the wrong there. I'm not. This would have came out in what 29? No, this is like 2021, so this wasn't even during the Trump presidency. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mencken's just a guy. But yeah, so that'll wrap up episode 6. So favorite of that episode for me, my favorite goes to Roman. Classic Roman episode with some good digs. He's able to get his guy prepared to be the candidate for the Roys. There's something in there about bringing him a soda. The other guy doesn't want to bring Logan a soda. Roman's like, yeah, just fucking do it and we'll be good. So props to Roman. He's my favorite of the episode. Least favorite goes to Shiv, former political consultant, and she couldn't even get her point across. She came off whiny when making her case and also gets upset when she loses, her classic fatal flaw. So yeah, favorite for episode 6 goes to Roman. Least favorite goes to Shiv. Episode 7 is titled Too Much Birthday. And this is all centered around Kendall's birthday. So, of course, in true Kendall form, he is going to sing at his birthday. This time, it looks like he's going to sing normal. He says, if I start second guessing, the whole thing collapses about this huge celebration he has, and boy, will this ever collapse. So, right off the bat, Shiv is not going to Kendall's birthday. Shaking my head. Obviously, she does end up going, but come on, Shiv, show some support for your brother. You know, you guys are still siblings. Let's be cordial here. Let's, celebrate birthdays. Let's be nice. You don't want to lose contact over some bullshit like this, especially when you weren't even that involved in the company, but now you are, I know. So I get it, but also this was just sad. I was shaking my head. So the Department of Justice is coming to the view that Kendall has overpromised. There will be just a number they have to pay. No prison, nothing sanctioned, nothing repeated. Logan says, I'll remember to Tom about his volunteering. Obviously, this means that Tom is off the hook. No more prison for Tom. So Logan gives him a little pat on the shoulder, says, I'll remember that you volunteered to go to prison for me. And yeah, he will, because he's probably going to have to double down on that after this season. So Tom should be elated, but he's acts cool until he goes into Greg's office, flips Greg's desk over, kicks the cabinets, knocks over the computers. Very excited. The Waystar 2 are free, he says, and kisses Greg's head. Wow. So yeah, off the hook for Greg and Tom. A lot of drama involved in that, but they're free, man. And boy, will they use that freedom for something crazy. Anyways, so now that the Pierce deal has fallen apart, the proxy war is over. They now are looking to stay alive in the media business. Obviously, the news outlets are not great due to just everything going digital. So their plan is to meet with Gojo, and they want to get this kind of initial framework figured out, but they only send their chief financial officer and their team rather than send Mattson, the leader of the company. The meeting's canceled. Logan won't see them. I don't like. You could have at least let them in, see what they had to say. But Logan says they're being disrespectful. Cancel it. We don't want to see them. And Logan says you need to reach out to Nan about Pierce again. Not sure if that'll come to fruition in any way, but maybe that was just a throwaway line. But Nan has been contacted through Frank. Forgot that they had that connection there. So seems now that Carrie and Logan are doing it. Carrie also has Logan's ear. She says fuck him about Mattson not showing up. And the siblings are now going to attend Kendall's party in order to talk to Mattson because Kendall and Mattson are friends. So they're going to go and try and do a little play here and see what was actually good with him and try and get this deal back on the road. So Shiv's going to grill Roman about Tabitha. Where is Tabitha? Have we seen her all season? Roman says it's complicated. I don't know why everyone knows that they have a lack of intimacy. I know Tabitha I think she did mention something about it at the dinner table, so I was wrong there. But where's my girl Tabby? Free Tabitha. Obviously, I just thought of something that happens next episode. Obviously, obviously Roman is into Jerry, not Tabitha, so I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever even see Tabitha again. In terms of other love, we have Greg. He's got a crush on Comfy, the PR girl for Kendall. Tom laughs and says she's way out of your league. Greg turns it back into, hey, how'd you get Shiv? Because she's out of your league. He says, I got the dick of a red sequoia and fuck like a bullet train. And Greg says, prove it. There's a little bit of sexual tension here between Greg and Tom. This is becoming weird, bro. I'm here for it, but I don't know. It feels like we're moving a little too fast here. Either just kiss or stop talking about it. So Kendall has a joke exhibit at his party. Connor is the president of shitting his bag. Roman dies from jerking off, and Shiv is arrested. Connor gets very offended and has them remove his exhibit, but obviously Kendall, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Vengeful, spiteful. He's got all these exhibits. I thought it was a funny idea. Surprised that they even came. It was iffy if they were even coming. Obviously, they all had ulterior motives besides maybe Connor, but funny joke exhibit from Kendall. Roman is going to give Kendall an envelope, and this is a letter from Logan and Roman. It says cash out and fuck off for his birthday. I noticed Kendall does keep it, doesn't throw it away. So interesting point there. Maybe Kendall's starting to realize, the walls are caving in. Maybe this isn't the best deal for me to just be on my own and do this me against the world theory and attempt. So in other aspects of the party, Greg is trying to rizz up Comfrey on try one. Failure, bro. Zero aura, zero riz. Obviously needs a little bit of work here, but I won't rag on you too much because I know it happens in the last couple episodes of the season. So Kendall is talking to Naomi about the offer. He mentions about the envelope that Roman gave to her, and she says, I think you should take it. Free your mind. But the thing is, all these people, they can't get out of the family business. It's their whole life, and obviously that's obvious, but just take it and run. Move with Naomi to Egypt or Greece, live on Santorini and just live a good life, bro. You don't need this business shit. You're never going to be in good graces with your dad again. You're probably maybe second to last on the totem pole, if that. And that'd be your luckiest day ever, bro. Take the money and run, bro. I know it's you have to swallow your pride. There could be something that, you get out of this. But obviously that's not going to come to fruition. But Kendall does have the realization that Shiv and Roman are just there to see Mattson. He's not going to let them into the exclusive club that Mattson's chilling at. Security is going to have to remove them. So Kendall does end up blowing off the offer. And of course, who didn't know about the offer? Shiv. Here we go again. And she's pissed. And yeah, She goes dancing, gets drunk. We'll talk about it in a second. So Rava has arrived. The kids bring a present, but they have not received it yet. The goons have been harassing the nanny. Um, Sad aspect of this episode with the present from the kids, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Greg and Kendall have a conversation. Kendall says, Greg, the snitch bitch. So obviously Greg has turned the table here. He has flipped to Logan's side completely, and he mentions Comfrey to Kendall, asks him if he'd be okay if he asks her out, and he says she's out of your league. Also calls him the world's biggest parasite, hitting hard, but was he kidding? I don't know. Greg's got to take everything to the chest. It's a tough world out there for young Greg. So there's a big problem also happening with Connor, Willa, and Comfrey about the coat. Connor has decided he needs to wear his coat into the party when that's not allowed. Comfrey is trying to uphold the rules of Kendall, saying take off your coat, bro. Just do it for Kendall's birthday. And he's like, there's a draft in here, my arm, blah blah blah. But Connor likes when Willa pushes back and says, why don't you just let him take his leave his coat on, blah blah blah. So feisty Willa comes out, and Connor's loving that. So meanwhile, Roman finally gets in to talk to Matsson. Matsson asks him, when will your father die? Which is a great way to introduce yourself to someone. He says his death would clear space. They bond over this app that they hate, and then they stream pissing on the app. This is a classic Roman thing to do. I don't know what this was. And Matsson just liked it. There's kind of a weird dynamic here where they're both kind of weird guys, so they get along. Roman ends up securing the meeting with Matsson. So Kendall is going to attempt his stunt he mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and he does end up pulling out of it, or he attempts to pull out of it, and then he does pull out of the stunt. The PR team's happy because it was going to be a fucking disaster, and he probably saved himself a lot of pride there. It seemed like that wasn't really well planned, or that was just not going to go well. So, Shiv has hit the dance floor and is just doing the classic hammer, just pretend like you're dancing really hard / get your demons out. Greg is observing from the top deck. He gets the date with a stressed out Comfrey. So good job for Greg. Round of applause. Greg and Comfrey now seeing each other outside of the family business. So Kendall, while looking for the gift from his kids, gets the gift from Naomi, and it's a watch. And Kendall freaks out. He's like, I need to get inside your mind and figure out why you'd give me this gift. So he's breaking down while looking for all these gifts. He says, I wish I was home. He's only looking... I saw this in the TV Time comment, and it puts it perfectly. So he was only looking for the gift from his kids because they're the only ones who made something for him and didn't just buy him something. That's a deep emotional pull. Obviously, kids care a lot about you, and they brought this thing for you, and everyone else brought all these bullshit presents that probably he'll never use. I mean, we saw that even in episode 1 when Tom had to buy Logan a gift. So kind of a sad theme there for this episode about buying over making stuff. So meanwhile, Tom is pissed at the compliment wall. They're just trying to, I don't know what the fuck this is, either a compliment wall where everyone's just screaming out compliments at you, but someone says he has wonderful grace, and he's talking with Greg. Greg's like, I got Comfrey, and Tom's still not happy after getting out of prison. He says it's supposed to be me who's happy, but it's you. Come on, bro, be happy for your boy, man. This is Greg. This is the peak of his life probably right now. But of course, Tom is only seeing his vision and seeing what he wants, and we will obviously see how this all plays out at the end of that season. So meanwhile, Shiv is trying to get the info from Roman about Matsson, but Roman's of course holding his cards high. He needs to check in with Logan first. Awkward convo between Roman and Shiv about their sexual lives. I really don't understand what's going on here. I guess that's what you do with your sibling. I don't know. I don't relate to that at all, but you do you, I guess. So Kendall comes out in the middle of their awkward conversation. Roman's in the know, but Shiv doesn't know about the spying that has been done to Kendall. And Shiv's like, hey, that's not really that cool. They're spying on the nanny, the kids, Rava. Roman just goes on an all-time rant and roast and ends up shoving Kendall. This was a pretty sad episode. Feel bad for Kendall. Roman's just way over the top. It's not your birthday party. He gets on his high horse and is immediately taken down next episode, by the way. But just a sad state of affairs between the siblings. They can never get their heads on the same page. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep alluding to the last episode because it's just, yeah, the last episode is crazy. But, um, yeah, this is where I was turning on Roman. I thought he was doing so well with everything, and then he goes back to his old ways. He gets too good for his britches, and I think the karma from this is going to be what plays back at him. So, just a sad episode, but a great episode of television. My favorite in this episode, I'm going to give to Greg. He's seemingly the only one who I think acts in good intentions, and he gets the date with Comfrey. He's always got that constant, good, funny energy, so when in doubt, choose Greg as your favorite. Least favorite, I'm going with Roman. Finally, bro is starting to cook and then acts like an asshole to his siblings. He kind of got Shiv at some points, I'll give him that, but going after Kendo wasn't cool, especially on his birthday. And you even acknowledged that Shiv was down bad and still attacked her here, so I'm not here for that. So least favorite going to Roman. Favorite goes to Greg. Episode 8 is titled Chiantashire, or Chiantashire, or Chiantashire. Something to that effect, some British resort that they're all going to be at. So right away, they're ambushing Sandy and Stewie with the Gojo acquisition. Stewie kind of realizes that they're just getting boned here, and yeah, they're a little upset about this. I think they end up with some sort of deal. They give them like an extra seat for an extra seat or something, but they're gonna basically force Sandy and Stewie to be on board. So Shiv is not there at the board meeting. She's just gonna call in. Logan watches them in the room while they talk about the investigation. Obviously, he can't be there, but someone wants it to be recorded in the minutes that he's standing there right there talking. I think it was Sandy. As always, Logan not really playing by the rules and cheating the rules set out by businesses to be ethical. I think it's safe to say Logan's not an ethical participant in business. Obviously, Shiv's going through a little bit of a funk here. She's kind of laying back in bed. I think she has the dog with her, which I don't know they had a dog. But obviously down bad after that last episode. So Roman, on the way before the wedding, had Peter, Caroline's new husband, checked, and he's a quote-unquote slime badger. They want to make sure that she got a prenup, and they're going to talk to her about it. Him and Shiv are going to bring it to her. So Kendall, he's got the buzz cut. I respect it. A little shorter than mine, but love the look. You know, got to go rogue sometimes, especially in the summer. Can't be sweating an inch in your hair. So Caroline wants to split the itinerary between Logan and Kendall because Logan refuses to be around Kendall. Why is Logan even at this? I guess they have a well enough relationship that she invited Logan to come to her new wedding, but seems like an awkward dynamic. Why don't you just take the side of Kendall here? But obviously Logan's the powerful man. Peter's trying to get in there some way and use his influence, so I understand that aspect of it. I'm just sad for Kendall that his mom should be on his side completely on this, but she's not, of course, because she doesn't really care about her kids, as we find out. So Roman knocks on Jerry's door. He's been sending dick pics. That might come up later. She tells him you got to find some other outlet, and he seems a little upset about this, a little salty. His fucking badgering of her new mans over these last 2 episodes is really annoying. I forget the guy's name, but I'm sure it might come up in a second. But yeah, Roman, bro, take a hint. Jerry doesn't want you right now. You have a perfectly fine young woman in Tabitha to hang out with, but clearly that's not your thing. You need some sort of thing there. I mean, this is just getting too much. So Roman's going to bring the talk of a prenup to Caroline, and she dismisses it. She doesn't think she needs it, which, yeah, of course, she's not going to take anything Roman says seriously. She basically copped him like 3 episodes or 4 episodes ago when they needed her share, when they needed something out of her. She knows exactly what he's going for. So Caroline's playing the game too. So Roman, try again next time. Someone in the podcast network is doing an information about the waiter that went disappearing at Shiv's wedding. They're actually going to reach out to Kendall about that. A podcast. I think I said that already. But Kendall's like, keep that one on the back burner for now. Obviously, he's very heavily implicated in that. So I'm sure he's never going to end up doing that. But people are still looking into that. So not great for Kendall there. Shiv and Tom roast Greg for dating Comfrey and how she's out of his league. I think this is like the first time we see Shiv and Greg like really interact. So that was interesting to watch play out. But yeah, poor Greg just gets a nice girlfriend and everyone just roasts him for how she's out of his league. Greg, bro, just don't listen to any of these people, bro. Like, you're living the best of your life. Like, you have the best job you ever had. You have the best salary you ever had. You're like, this is peak life right now. You got a nice girl. Like, don't take anything these people say, especially fucking loser Tom, um, and Shiv, who was just down bad like 15 minutes ago in this episode. Like, you're good, bro. I hope you don't take any of this to your heart. I know you won't, but just had to get that out there. So Mattson has gone nuclear. He tweets out about him getting high. They're going to meet at the wedding, and Kendall roasts them like, hey, nice pictures you got there from Mattson. But of course, another wedding that just can't go without business. Wasn't expecting it to, but not a shock. So something that is a shock is Connor proposing to Willa, saying, will you make me the happiest man slash bulletproof candidate in the world? Nice fucking proposal, dude. Maybe don't mention your presidential, like, make it emotional, make it right. Like, I don't know, this felt just forced. Obviously it was forced because he wants to be married in order to look more politically appealing. Willa pretends to say yes for all the people looking, but she says she needs to think about it. And if your girl says she needs to think about it and takes as long as Willa does, like, that's not the one for you, bro. Like, this needs to be a yes within, like, the minute, or else, I mean, obviously, like, all bullshit aside, whatever, I'm gonna say, like, but if she's not saying yes right away, like, that's gotta trigger some red flags for you, brother. Like, I don't know. But Connor's in love, so I'll leave it be. Peter is already trying to scheme with Logan to get a position in the UK Parliament / government. Shocker. That's why Logan was probably invited to this whole fucking thing. Peter seems like a scum. He's probably just gonna divorce and make mad money and ream if he wants to, but I don't even know if he wants to. He might just be a simp, and yeah. Kendall tries to hash it out with Logan, but Roman just stands in the way. We'll get back to you. Sad by Logan. You can't even talk to your own son. I know obviously he's brought up all this shit against you, but come on, bro. Like, let's talk. Let's figure this out. It'd be better if you guys talked for both sides. Like, figure something out, a workaround or something. I don't know. But Logan, of course, stubborn as ever, is not going to agree to do that. So Shiv is on the bachelorette party with her mom. She said, Caroline says, it might have been a spotty mom, but you're a shitty daughter. And from what I see, like, I agree. It seems like, you know, the Roys are not a very emotional family. They're not very emotionally connected to each other. But both of them have very huge faults in their relationships that I think they wanted to like each other a lot, but it just never worked out. They smoke a cigarette together here and kind of reconcile on what really went wrong and everything. And not really reconcile because it just leaves the same as it was before. But it seems like, you know, Caroline was a little bit upset about how everyone stayed with Logan during their divorce, and I would be upset if I was her too. It just, you know, maybe you could have done more, try to figure something out, and she even admits she was a spotty mother. So obviously complicated relationships between parents and kids never really going to get solved, especially when you become older. It just gets worse and worse. So a bit of a sad scene here between Shiv and Caroline. So Jerry at the wedding is panicking a bit. They're all freaking out about Mattson. Mattson's doing fine, but Roman has to go visit with him. Obviously, Roman having the close relationship with him. So while he's doing that, Kendall and Logan are going to have dinner. Logan is freaking out. He has the chef checked. He has Iverson come in and check the food. Kendall is officially announcing to him he wants out of this. He realizes that he can't do it. Logan is evil. Kendall says, let me out. Logan turns this on him and starts pressing him about the waiter, saying, I'm better than you. And fuck off, kiddo. Poor fucking Kendall, dude. Just brutal stuff here. I don't know. Logan's just a fucking asshat. He is evil. He's mean. He doesn't like his kids that much. Like, fuck, man. I mean, I know he gave him everything, but it's just like, you watch scenes like this, and it's just heartbreak for Kendall, man. It's very hard to be on Team Kendall and leave any of these episodes happy, man. This guy's just gone through everything, and it's fucking horrible. So safe to say Kendall is going to be down in the dumps. Actually, at the end of this episode, we'll see. But so Tom and Shiv are having an interaction. Shiv has had a vision, and she's motivated to start working towards the top. Their foreplay is interesting. Shiv says, I'm too good for you, and Tom seems to like it, but from what I am gathering after this half season, he didn't really like that, and that kind of set off some alarm bells in his head. So Roman has been talking to the Contessa because why not? But Greg was trying to talk to her. Roman stops him. And did Roman do it? I don't think so. I'd guess no, but he's in there seemingly if he wants to. But Roman becomes obsessed with Laurie. That's Jerry's guy. Always trying to chirp him out and talk to him. Um, Sorry, some ghosts moving around my house right now. But yeah, Roman stopped talking to Laurie, bro. Let Jerry live her life. But obviously, that's not in the cards. So Tom wakes up and realizes that he was concerned about the pillow talk last night. He says he got an afterburn from it, didn't like the way things were going. Shiv says she wants frozen embryos, and Tom's like, no, we probably shouldn't do that. Um, yeah. So, Roman on his way to meet Mattson and does meet him. Mattson is more interested in failure than success, which is just true, like, visionary, true, like, prime shit for this type of guy. He made everything, now he wants to just be an asshole and chase, like, dragons and try and, be the best in the world at everything by coming through failure, but it does make sense. He says, I quote, I ream people. He will think about the deal, but the deal is dead because he wants an equal part merger, at least so we think, but he thinks maybe it will be. So Logan thinks it's worth a conversation when they bring it back to him, but Roman, after doing all of his good work, what does he do? Send a dick pic to Jerry, but it doesn't go to Jerry. It goes to his dad, and yeah, so he sends a dick pic to his dad. This is classic Succession, just, no holds bar, no anything. It's just like, what are we doing, Roman? Ugh, in a meeting, and this seems like a very inappropriate time to do this, but it's Roman, so it makes sense. It's just awful. Shiv now has leverage. Roman just blew everything he had. Logan doesn't even think he's straight. He thinks something's wrong with him. Shiv has leverage, and she's making an issue. She says, or someone says, here's my dick, I guess, and you're a laughing stock. I think that's Shiv. Yeah. Roman, bro, like, you had it all. If this season ended like 15 minutes before this episode ended, I think Roman would have been named successor, bro. But you just had to be weird and had to do it in a fucking meeting. Like, even if this wasn't in a meeting, like, I don't, like, it's just like, oh God, this was like my turning point back on Roman. I'm now reversing the other way. Well, actually, last episode, at the end of that one, kind of turned me off on him anyway. But just down stock for Roman. Back down to the bottom he goes. So Shiv tries to push Jerry to report this to HR or a board. She's going to use this now to get rid of that Jerry and Roman contingent. And we cut to Kendall, and he's floating endlessly depressed on a pool float while his kids go outside. And yeah, just a depressing episode. End the episode to Kendall, a depressing Kendall episode. Really, no one's stock improved in this episode besides Shiv. So getting into my favorite and least favorite I gave to Shiv. She let out some of her honest feelings this episode towards her mom, Tom, and she also got Roman in trouble and capitalized on that situation. And she's feeling remotivated to become successor. So all hail the Shiv train. Let's see where it lands. Least favorite, got to go to Roman. Got too big for his britches once again. It all came crashing down. And always check who you send stuff to, my brother. Simple message, simple lesson for that end of the episode. So favorite, I'm giving to Shiv. Least favorite goes to Roman. The 9th and final episode of Season 3 is titled All the Bells Say. And wow, what an episode. Yeah, just a lot to get through. So this one starts out with Logan reading to Iverson. Sometimes Iverson still likes the children's books. Not really sure. I don't think we saw Iverson in season 2. I could be totally wrong. Seems to have grown up mad fast. I think there's probably a couple years between seasons, but yeah, I don't know like if that means anything, what we're supposed to take away from that. I think Iverson's a little special, and that's okay. So guess we'll keep that on the back burner if that ends up being relevant again. He seems fine though. He seems more normal than he was before. Everyone else is playing a Monopoly game. Fun little dynamics playing out at the table. Shiv's cheating. Tom has to leave for a piece that he needs to do with a magazine or something. And Connor and Willa's proposal comes up, of course, and everyone just grills them about it, especially Willa. Tough just time to be Willa when you're still not deciding. You got to make that choice, Willa, and just get it over with. Obviously, if she had said no, she'd have to leave, but We don't need to talk about that. So Kendall returns to the resort. He came back from the hospital. So he says he might put the papers out on Instagram. He's kind of like in a little bit of a haze. Apparently, he almost drowned during the last scene of last episode. We saw him clearly a little drunk, floating on that thing. People are saying he tried to commit suicide. My guess is, he probably just, it's probably one of those, not that, well, I'm going to speak from what I've seen from TV shows and movies. I feel like it's one of those things where, you kind of just let your mind drift and, you don't really realize what you're doing. And then he ends up drowning and they're like, whoa, 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 what's happening? And, it seems like he tried to kill himself. Maybe he wasn't even like thinking about it like that. I don't know. That's my guess on it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he actually tried to kill himself? I feel like no, but I could be wrong. I don't think he wants to, but I guess we'll see if that plays out in season 4. So the DOJ is hitting them with a historic option. Gojo is looking at other options, and no, not historic option, historic fine. Gojo begins looking at other options. Roman and Jerry are going to accompany Logan to go and see Matsson, see where his head's at. And this is where Logan is starting to question Roman's sexuality. He says, "Are you scared of pussy? If you need to get straightened out, get straightened out." I will back the second sentiment in this. Roman, you gotta just figure out what it is, bro. Well, actually, no, I can't say that. I think Roman just needs to accept who he is. It's a hard process, but you need to accept who you are, embrace your sexuality, whatever it may be. Obviously, it's 2022, I think, when this was filmed, so I'm hoping Roman can find some sexual peace and some love in his life. He really needs it. So, but the way Logan handles this is shitty, of course. So Matsson, in the meeting, calls their business old and outdated and knows they need to beef up or sell out. And Logan's like, yeah, you kind of got us. What do you want? Matsson wants to take over the company, but he'll make the board comfortable for Logan. Logan declines. They are going to agree on a side swap of assets, and Roman, hits the bricks per the direction of Logan. So Logan's staying with Matsson to talk while Roman leaves. Obviously, this should have been a key indicator to Roman. I think it does click in his head later that, maybe there aren't good intentions here going on. There's a little sibling meeting at the wedding to let Kendall know they love him, and it's kind of like an intervention. Kendall's in denial. Obviously doesn't want to admit his substance abuse, doesn't want to talk about what happened the day before with the pool float. Connor, of course, turns this on to be about him. He's upset, saying, "I am the eldest son. He didn't know anything about the merger. No one said congratulations to him for the proposal." But Willa didn't say yes. So, of course, Connor's being irrational as fuck. I will say, bro, like, I would say congrats if she said yeah, but what if she ends up saying no and you just said congrats for, I guess it's like the genuine, like not genuine, but just a nice thing to do, say congrats on proposing. But like, she didn't say yes. So it's like, I didn't back him on that point. I don't think that's really a fair criticism. But Willa does agree to marry Connor right after this scene. She doesn't look too happy getting in the car right after. Seems like her hand was kind of forced here. Poor Willa, man. But, if it really was that bad, I think she'd get out. So there has to be some sort of part of her that wants to be in this continue on with this relationship. So Willa and Connor, next family marriage. I think there will be, only them and Tom and Shiv will be married. And so, yeah. Roman is still worried about Peter, thinks there's bad intentions there. Don't think that it ever plays out yet. Maybe it will in the last season. Greg has made his way with the Contessa. It seems like he's really in there flirting with her. Tom says if Roman gets in there, he'll invade France. Funny reference to Roman just being like the psycho. But yeah, Greg's got to protect. So I think that Greg should have stayed with Comfrey, bro. Like, now he's feeling it. Now he's like, I got like heat check. Like, let me go with the Contessa, bro. But like, I mean, I get it. She's digging you, but Comfrey is like a fine looking woman, man. She was very nice to you. Like, she seems like she's a good person too. So maybe give that a chance before you just ditch her for the princess. But you do, Greg, ball out, man. Go be your best self, I guess. I don't know. I hope Comfrey is aware of what's happening and you let her know that all this is going on. Kendall is going to arrive late to the wedding. Logan is not going to make it, which raises some alarm bells. So yeah, he was just invited to, talk to Peter, and yeah, he doesn't even need to come to the wedding. Who cares? Greg is sitting next to Comfrey and the Contessa. playing both sides, being like listening to one ear, listening to the other ear. That was a funny scene. So yeah, Greg, killing it, dude. I don't know who he's gonna choose. So Connor has come to the realization slash heard this theory slash just came up with this theory that Logan is trying to get good sperm to make a new baby with Carrie, which is fucking crazy. Logan's like 80 and Carrie's like 30. So, this is kind of like House of the Dragon shit, like having a kid and making a good successor because you don't have any good kids that are successors. But at least in House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, like it's all men. I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's just like the rule. Here you have 4 contenders, but it's just nothing. Like in the House of the Dragon world, when you have only girls, you can't have a successor. Whatever. This is kind of a shitty comparison because but this just reminded me of that just because that was recently. So Logan potentially trying to make a new successor. Don't think it'll be successful, but well, you never know. Seems like there's news about a celebrity making kids when they're like 70 every year. So I think Al Pacino did. I think there was another one, but I'm forgetting. Anyways, Mattson is just trying to make stock. Greg has been contacted by assistants, which Greg's in this like assistant circuit between a bunch of people and different companies and stuff. Seems like he's got nothing, but he knows that there are a bunch of new advisors in Europe. So this is potentially pointing to the signs that there is something going on because their meeting and wedding is in Europe. So maybe everyone's flocking to them to come and make a deal. Shiv is pissed out finding out about what happened at the meeting between Mattson and Logan. Shocker, not in the know equals pissed off Shiv. But, understandable point. She seems, this whole season, she's been kind of lagging behind, hasn't really been in the know, and I think this leads to her arc in this episode of what she and the siblings end up doing at the end of it. But obviously, we'll talk about it in a second. But wasn't surprised to see Shiv once again upset about not being in the know about something. So they go to their last option. They call in Kendall as a backup. He's got good connections with Stewie and Frank, obviously. They need to call him in for backup for a line to them. And he's breaking down and sitting in the sand after he notices people taking out the trash. He says he's not connected with his kids or endeavors. And this is where I lean back and say, maybe he did try and commit suicide. But I still don't think so. It's just a very, he seems like lost, not depressed. He seems like, his motivations are evading him. I don't know. Maybe that's his depression. I don't know. But I think he's more lost than depressed. Anyways, Roman, of course, with great guidance, is still just being an asshole to him. And then Kendall spills the beans about the waiter. And this was awesome, not because of what he did, but because I always love these scenes when the siblings get together and are nice to each other and care about each other. But I don't think he was driving. Was he driving or am I bullshitting? I need to rewatch that scene. I feel like the waiter was driving, not Kendall. He's like remembering it wrong. And he did go down to try and save him. Roman does a good job here telling him that it's not his fault. Once he says like, I go try to save him, he's like, dude, what could you have done? It's just a tough situation to deal with. I think Roman could be a great guy to have around for comic relief in times of need and times of sadness like this. So, I do always love these scenes between the siblings getting to actually bond together. I'm glad Kendall could lift this weight off his chest. Maybe if Logan tries to use this as leverage against him next season, the siblings would be like, hey, like, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. I doubt it, though. They're always going to be at each other's throats, but this was awesome. I'm glad that everyone showed up for Kendall once again. Roman, we saw him with the crack people in either season 1 or season 2. Roman, I give him a lot of shit for being a dickhead sometimes, but always love to see him come to his brother's support. So I like this scene. Definitely an emotional, hard scene to watch. But it's what makes the show so fucking good. So back to business. Gojo is officially buying Waystar. Kendall's still a wreck, but they get the news in the middle of it, and now they're going to start to brainstorm what they could possibly do. They go with Shiv and Roman are going on the way to go see Logan. They bring Kendall with them, and they need to tell him they're not having it. They are going to hold a company deal, doing a full coup. Roman not loving it, but we get the sibling collab, Avengers Assemble. I was like, finally, they're going to take over this company, even though I knew in the back of my head that somehow this wasn't going to work. But I was ready. the boys and girl are on the way to fucking take the shit over. They call it Tom. And yeah, I got a weird vibe from Tom right away. I was like, I wrote down, not sure if he was totally down for this plan. Um, he talks with Greg right after and says, "Will you be my attack dog?" He can, and Greg will have his own Greg, and they hug it out. Now this didn't click for me initially. I need to rewatch this scene. I always say I need to rewatch this, and I never do. I probably won't even rewatch this. But I thought Tom was like on the sibling side. I mean, I guess like Kendall's always been nice to him. Like Roman's like meh, but Shiv's his wife. Like he doesn't trust Shiv enough to like go through with this. He trusts Logan. I guess you cut back to the diner scene that I just talked about on him saying, "I've never seen Logan get fucked." He's got a point. He's also of course been shit on like 99 times out of 100 in the past by Shiv. So I will respect Tom for what has happened. It's just not the outcome I wanted. But let's go through the end of this episode. So, of course, the siblings ambush Logan in his little room that he's having early meetings at. Logan tells them to get Kendall out, but Roman's like, you know what? No, Kendall's staying here. Why would he be kicked out? So good for Roman again for standing up for Kendall. Logan feels it in his bones that he has to sell now. That's his excuse. And you know what? I won't blame it. The guy's built like a media conglomerate, so you can't doubt greatness. But his pitch to the kids is horrible. He's like, it's a chance to get an education. What do they need education for? They're all in their 30s and are all rich than like 99.5% of the world. I don't think that was a good pitch to them. He should have promised them involvement in the company or something, like positions. He should have had them ready to go. Obviously, they're still upset. We got Kendall and Shiv arguing with Logan for Roman. Obviously, we saw this play out in season 1 with Kendall trying to get him to do the vote. This time, it seems like they win, but Roman kind of makes it out of the best of all the siblings, probably. Logan mocks Shiv and says, "I got the kids beat. I got you beat." And we turn to find out that it was Caroline. She called in. They redid their divorce, so there's no more clause in there for the siblings to take over if they needed to. And yeah, Logan wins, of course. He says, "You nosy fucking pedestrians." And they're mostly going to file out besides Roman, who goes to talk to Jerry. And Jerry says, Roman's like, "Why didn't you tell me? We're supposed to be a team, blah, blah, blah." Jerry harkens back to her quote at the beginning of the season. "How does it serve my interests?" She's going to do what's best for the team, to quote Draft Day. Respect it from Jerry. She's just along for the ride. Whatever catches her out the most, she's going to do. She doesn't really have to promise anything to Roman or anything. So respect to Jerry, but not surprised to see her do that. And my jaw dropped when I found out that it was fucking Tom that he called the hit, called it into Logan. We see Logan embrace him. Just another awesome episode, another awesome end to a season. Wow. All 3 of the season finales have been fucking crazy. Can't wait to see what season 4 has. Tom, man. Wow. Tom. Big fucking power play from Tom. Interested to see where his story ends. Are him and Shiv going to be together? Will Shiv find out? I watched the season 4 trailer. It looks like Shiv does eventually find out. But wow. Tom Wamsgams, dude. Big fucking play. Greg and Tom on top with Logan and Jerry and the rest of everyone besides the siblings. So season 4, all the siblings got to climb an uphill battle to come back and take over this company somehow. I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know what's going to happen. I remember my friends were watching this show in like the spring of 2023 live, so I'm really excited to see the season. I remember seeing a lot of tweets about it. I'm really excited for season 4. Season 3, another great season. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to rank the seasons right now. But yeah, I'm loving this show so far. Definitely will be in my top 10 that I'm going to do after the show ends, or after I finish watching the show. We'll see where that lands when I watch the end of the show. But as always, I'll give my favorite and least favorite of this episode. So favorite, got to go to Logan. Unfortunately, just somehow he always fucking wins. He never dies. He just beasted the kids by somehow getting Tom on his side. Tom, who already gave him the prison thing, he doubles down and gives him this. Figures out the plan. "I always fucking win" just rings very true and was a boss quote. I gotta give respect where respect is due. Favorite goes to Logan. Least favorite I'm giving to Tom. I wrote down that the move didn't make a lot of sense, but it makes perfect sense to me now. I'm just angry at him from perspective of the show. I wanted the siblings to win. I'm team siblings over Logan, of course. Is Logan really gonna have your back though? I guess we'll find out. I doubt it, but we shall see. So awesome season. Thank you guys for tuning along with all these reactions to Succession. Hopefully, we'll be done with season 4 and done with this show in short time. I know it's been a really long ride, so I appreciate you guys sticking around for all the reactions. And Succession, have been getting a lot of comments. Not a lot, but just more comments than I usually get, which is none. So thank you guys for the comments and stuff. Always appreciate your insights. There's been a really couple good ones that have broadened my eyes and stuff in the show. So appreciate you sticking along as always. This will come out on Tuesday. So in the future, I'm still going to figure out what we're doing for NFL podcast. Either 1 or 2 a week, I'm thinking. And then we will have reviews for the movie Primer, the movie Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I believe the second one's called, and the end of Succession. So stick along for the content journey, man. Appreciate you guys, for real. Succession, man, awesome. I can't wait to get into season 4. Peace.